Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DIRTtrackdigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 31st Lap, episode number 177 on deck. We're going to be talking a little bit about the situation that has developed with Brett Hearn and receiving a fine, loss of points, and ultimately it sounds like his platinum membership also gone by the wayside for his decision to run Eastern States Weekend, which was won by Tommy Meyer, instead of participating in Weedsport in a race that ended up not even happening. We'll get into that a little bit deeper with Mike Mallett here in just a few minutes. But first of all, Mike, welcome once again to the show. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to be back.
You sound so thrilled.
I'm just tired, man. You know,
It's the end of the year, dude.
I'm a little worn down. But
How was school this week?
it's been good. It's been good. A lot going on, though, you know, between, what transpired over the weekend at Middletown and then the Brett Hearn penalty and things like that. So it's been a lot of news this week for usually a time of the year when things start to settle down.
Well, it certainly has had some pretty major implications. Thursday, Billy Decker winning the Super DIRTcar Series event over at the Brewerton Speedway, turning around BlackRock, having their events get off relatively unscathed without any issues with the weather. Last call at the port, under fire all weekend long, modified portion of the program, not completed on Saturday. World of Outlaws likewise rained out, and that event not happening. Neither event at this point looking like it's going to be rescheduled. Jimmy Phelps winning the 358 modified portion on Friday night over there at Weedsport. Eastern States Weekend taking place, and that really was the big news of the weekend, between Tommy Meyer coming away with the win and then Brett Hearn subsequently being penalized. I believe it was 130 points for 150 points. Sorry about that. 150 points. For going to that race and skipping Weedsport, and also loses some of his status with the Super DIRTcar Series. You did the story on it. You've had 14,000 people take a look at it, and just about every one of those has a different way, shape, or form of opinion. It's been, as you said, a little worn down and a little run down. I can understand that with this situation as it developed.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things you're trying to track everybody down, trying to get a hold of Mike Parati from DIRTcar and Brett, you know, and make sure you get both sides of the story. You don't want to just get one side out there. So, you didn't know what was going to happen, but you assumed that something would happen. You know, we all know that DIRTcar has guys, drivers that are committed to the tour. They don't have to sign their contract, and part of that contract may be missing races that you don't want to miss. You know, there's some big races that the contract does cause you to miss, and. As a result, unfortunately for Brett, he had to make a decision last weekend whether to go to Middletown or whether to go to Weedsport, and he ultimately chose to stay at Middletown. You can understand both sides of it, specifically for Brett. I mean, Brett has been money, so to speak, at Middletown. He's won the Eastern States 200 multiple times. He's won the double multiple times. He had an opportunity to make $60,000. From a financial standpoint, he looked at it, and, that was the decision that he made, was to stay at Middletown. And you understand the folks at DIRTcar making the decision they have to make. When drivers commit to that series, they get perks for that. Whether it be pit passes or guaranteed total money or so on. There are perks that come with that, and plus, for DIRTcar folks themselves, they get the opportunity to say, hey, that we know that this driver will be at this event, so they have that opportunity to advertise that driver. And when one doesn't show up, that jeopardizes their product.
What would you have done? I mean, given what the weather forecast looked like, I think he was basically a little bit on that same side of that equation there, deciding to save himself the toe. You know what I mean? Why burn all that fuel just to find out?
If I was in a similar situation to Brett Hearn, which will never happen because I don't think I have that much talent driving a modified, but let's say that I were in that situation, I probably would have done what Brett did. I mean, you're looking at it. If you're looking at it from a financial standpoint, you can understand it. I mean, it's it's an opportunity or a chance to win $60,000, because if he wins the small block race, it pays 15. If he wins the big block race, which he's pretty good odds that he can, he's at 35,000. So you put them together, there's your 50, and then if you win both, the Helmar put up the extra 10 on top of what they already stuck into the purse.
Right.
And it would have made it $60,000. That's more than it pays to win the Super DIRTcar Series championship. Then you factor in the weather. You can understand the decision to stay at Middletown.
How about Eastern States as a whole? Do you have had the chance to get down there and check that race out? I was there on Sunday.
Yeah. And it was, you know me. I love Eastern States, so I was just happy to be part of the event and to get back to Middletown. It's unfortunate at what happened at Weedsport. I was there for the first 2 days, and it's unfortunate the weather situation that they faced there. Friday night was just bitter cold. Bitterly cold. That's the coldest I've been at a racetrack in a long time. And then Saturday, I made it over there in time, got all the heats in. Then we're in the middle of the consolation, the rain started falling, and that's pretty much when you knew that things were going to be a bust. So luckily, made it to Middletown on Sunday. Started a little late, but the Eastern States 200 has a little bit of everything, just as it always does. Some drama, some controversy at the end, and Tommy Meyer ended up walking away with the check.
What ultimately Tommy Meyer coming away with the win? What was the sentiment like down there on pit road as that whole situation was playing out?
Well, there was issues post-race, and there's still issues people discussing the legality of Tommy's motor, and there was issues there after the race due to, I don't really know the whole situation because I've not been able to get much out of folks at this point on the legality and so on and so forth with that motor.
Everybody's staying pretty quiet on that topic.
There were some drivers that were upset that his motor was considered legal because he was running an open small block. Mm-hmm. And then he got a weight break and all these other things. The whole where things are true and not true kind of blurs a little bit there. So, but that was the post race. The fans themselves were pretty stoked to see somebody different win it. To have Tommy Meyer, a guy that's raced in Middletown his entire career. He's I think he's one of the only drivers to win a championship in pretty much every weekly division there. Moved his way up through the ranks, and then has a couple of big block titles or a big block title. But so now he can add that and puts his name basically in legendary status in Middletown.
And all the pageantry and everything that comes with that race, of course, makes that one of the things that every driver wants to get their hands on that win, and they wanted to win at Syracuse. And now that option is gone, we look to write that new chapter in history with Central New York Raceway Park taking Super Dirt Week over. Then this sort of serves as the end of the year. This is it. We're pretty much wrapped up, other than the World Finals where the sprint cars, late models, and modifies are going to run together middle of November in Charlotte at the dirt track over there. You going to make the trip down there?
Yeah, this weekend I'll be at the 5 Mile Point on Saturday for the Race of Champions season finale. Then the following weekend I fly out Thursday for Charlotte for Friday, Saturday, and I fly home Sunday. So quick weekend, down and back. And then the weekend after that, I plan on going to Bridgeport, and then some banquets and things here in New York, and then December, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do. There's a couple of indoor midget races in Indiana that I may make a trek west to go see.
That's fun. If you get that, that'll keep your monthly streak intact, right?
I streak alive, yeah, because I've been trying to figure out what to do for December. Normally, I've worked a couple indoor shows. The last couple of years, the Battle of Trenton has been in December, but this year it's pushed back to February. So that kind of changes up my plans a little bit.
Right.
So we shall see.
The Battle of Trenton been relocated to February.
Yeah, I believe that's what the new date is. All of the indoor races, there's 3 of them now. The first one happens in early in the year to Allentown now, and that will come. Where's the dates on that? Hold on. That happens on January 2nd.
Uh-huh.
And then Atlantic City follows that a little bit later on in the month of January. And I'll look at the dates on that one for you, just to give you an idea.
I've always wanted to go to one of those.
That comes up on Trenton is January 29th and 30th. And then when is, Atlantic City is January 29th and 30th. And then the Trenton, their date is, where is it? I gotta find the links here. I'm going through it. Quarter measure results. Nope, I don't know what the date is on that one right now.
That's all right.
February 27th and 28th. There we go. So the final weekend in February. I knew it was different.
So that means that January and February are also intact for you now, too.
Yeah, I'm good for January and February. January, I fly out to, on December 30th, Brent Smith, photographer from DIRTcar Digest, and I fly out to Cocopah. We're going out to Yuma, Arizona again for the for Cocopah Speedway's Winter Heat.
Yep.
410 sprint cars. So we're going to check that out.
Yeah, you told
again
me
for the second year.
You told me there last week that you were going to be making it out to that one. You going to have a chance to get down to Florida at all this year for the?
Yep. Well, Volusia plane tickets have already been booked, so
that's
things are looking up on that one as well. So it's you got to make plans for all this stuff early because of just the flight costs and so on and so forth.
Sure, makes sense.
So we've made our plans for that. Booked those early. It's nice that I'm flying out of Syracuse, which is unusual because normally I fly out of Buffalo or Albany. But with the cost of tickets skyrocketing, I've decided just to say screw it and fly out of Albany.
Right.
Even though I might not be as happy on the airline that I would be on another airline.
Sure.
So I'm usually a Southwest guy, but unfortunately Southwest fares have jumped up with everybody else's.
Right. They keep going up, up, up. We fly out here on the evening of the 10th of November to spend a week in Topeka with that indoor Blizzard Bash again. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be out there for that, and then from there, I think everything calms down until we get to February the 13th. We've got a show in Minnesota that we're going to go to, but in between there, that we're going to be active down at Radio Hill Raceway in Dundee. So that's going to be kind of fun. We got more news on that here as that develops. Hopefully we'll have some of those guys in the studio and be able to talk with them a little bit about some of the, they call them Salvas Mud Bosses, and they look like mini dirt modifieds. They're the coolest thing. They're fast, they're cheap and affordable, and I'm excited to break some more news on that as it gets closer. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're going to be having a 200-lap race for those guys, just like they did at the mile. So we'll get more details on that as that develops. Black Rock Speedway having their Dutch Hogue National Open. Ron Cartwright Jr. coming away with his second career win in that event, 50 laps the distance. Modifieds were the main menu there. Ron Cartwright Jr. over Steve Payne and Bob Henry. Bryce Davis won the topless event for the Go Nuclear Late Model Series. The Crate Late champion for 2015 is Lee Gill. CJ Guerreri coming away with a win in the Street Stock Empire 100. They went 100 laps in the street stocks. He led the final two, getting the lead away from Earl Zimmer, to be credited with the lead first on lap number 98. Tons of money given away in that event between lap money and contingencies and things along those lines. Chris Bonofsky winning the 4-cylinder race. He turned around and he also won the 4- and 6-cylinder enduro that was held after that. The 4-cylinder event was a challenge race, front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars. Welcome to run in that. Casey Pavlik coming away with the win in the held over makeup feature from Onyx Summit Weekend in the opening night of Dutch Hogue National Open Weekend. Casey Pavlik picked up $2,500 for that. Steve Gray followed him with Ray Bliss coming across the line in third. Glenn Rittenauer winning the held over street stock feature, the NY6A Micro Sprint Championship. Jim Young won $1,000 for that effort. The regular program, that was all just makeup stuff. The regular program for Dutch Hogue National Open Weekend opened with Dave Marcichelli. Well, it was capped, I should say, with Dave Marcichelli winning the headline Crate Sportsman for 50 lapper, $1,000 going home with Marcichelli. He took the lead on lap 48 with the final two circuits, past A.J. Lloyd, Carl Comfort, Brady Fultz, Casey Pavlik filling the top five there. The champion Power Equipment Street Stock Dash Race. 29 cars registered for activity in there. Each of those races were 10-lap dashes. John Carpenter and Jeremy Potter-Zabowski winning those events, which gave them guaranteed starter status in the Empire 100, which was held the following Saturday. That was contingent on them attempting to qualify. Dave Du Bois winning the 360 late model feature, 15 cars showing up, 25 laps the distance there. Harry Eli winning the IMSA modified, and the NY6A micro sprints held a second feature. Ben Kaiser winning that one. So there's a rundown on what we saw over at Black Rock Speedway. We already talked a little bit about what happened over at Brewerton Speedway with Billy Decker winning that race. It was a heck of a show. Did you go take in Brewerton Speedway's race?
Who are you talking to now? Who are you talking to here? Come on.
You.
We did, I did Brewerton on Thursday. Then I said hit up Weedsport Friday, Saturday, then Middletown on Sunday. But, Friday night, great race. It feels like it was, or Thursday night, it feels like it was 10 years ago at this point. It's hard to believe it was only a week ago. You're not used to going to 4 nights in a row, in October.
Right.
Other than, you get through Super Dirt Week and you're like, okay, now I can breathe. It's just Friday, Saturday, some Sundays, and I'm home. But, Thursday night was a great battle between Billy Decker and Brett Hearn. Danny Johnson kind of stuck his nose in there at the end, but great battle, great race between two of the heavy hitters in racing. And it was Billy Decker getting the best of them at his home track. It was a win that Billy said he had to have. He was fortunate, redrew the pole. So when you do redraw the pole at your home track for a Super DIRTcar Series event, you better take advantage, and he did.
So now with all that stuff factored in, Billy Decker winning that race over Brett Hearn, Danny Johnson coming home third, Matt Shepard fourth, and that Matt Shepard is leading the points. He's got 86 points in hand over Billy Decker. Jimmy Phelps has jumped to second with 167 points to his credit. 5 wins for Decker, 4 wins for Shepard, 1 win for Phelps. Brett Hearn, after the penalty levied, he falls to fourth, 272 points off the pace. 2 wins to his credit. Larry White next, and Pat Ward giving chase from 6. Danny Johnson, Tim Fuller, Stu Fries, and Gary Tompkins filling in the top 10. So points battle, it's tight. It's tight with twin features on deck at the World Finals.
Yeah, it's going to come down to Matt Shepard and Billy Decker more than likely. Jimmy's got the outside chance, but
it seems like he always goes to Charlotte with an outside remote chance. Friday, the first feature. Saturday, November the 6th, Saturday, November the 7th is the second feature. Jimmy always goes into Charlotte with an outside chance, and he ends up the bridesmaid more often than not, unfortunately.
Yeah, this time I think it's going to be tough. You've got Matt Shepard and Billy Decker in front of you. Those are two guys that, one of them may have problems or one of them may have a tough night, but you don't see both of them having a tough night on the same night.
Well, wasn't it Billy Decker last year that went in, nip and tuck with Matt Shepard, and Matt had problems, and it ended up getting...
Yeah, Matt had a poor time trial lap on Friday night, and it forced him to start deep in the Saturday program, because they time trial everything on Thursday.
Right.
But he just wasn't good in one of the time trials, and he started so far back, and Billy started up front, and that was pretty much all Billy needed to do.
Right. Locked it up for him. But Matt Shepard, we'll have to see if Matt can rally this thing and pull down yet another title in a real short span of time. He's been on fire, and you can't count out Stu Friesen, who's obviously been electric for the last, give it 3 years. If you want to count it that far back, even 4 or 5 years, when you start looking at when he won his first race at Super Dirt Week, that win there sort of changed the tone of everything for Stu Friesen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was, between the two of them, as you said, they're pretty good shoes here.
What else have we got? What else do you want to get into? You just excited that the season's coming to an end a little bit? Give you a chance to catch your breath?
A little, today, the news coming out last couple of days, sprint car news. The rotating or the rotisserie that is the off-season with sprint cars has begun. With now that Paul McMahon has left CJB Motorsports, as of today, he'll be done after World Finals. The other big news that came out was from Modern Motorsports, and they stated if they cannot find a full-time corporate sponsor, that they are done for the 2016 season.
Wow.
So that's now there is some speculation that it did say in the model release that if Saldana wishes to look for other opportunities, the team will not hold him back. I would not be surprised to see a switch to CJB Motorsports with that seat open. Going from one to the other. You know, it seems to be how things work here in sprint car racing.
Wow, I was just checking up on some of that stuff. All the updates, you can find all that stuff on the, as Mike call it, the rotisserie, if you will, on DIRTtrackdigest.com. Plan on getting back together here next week. There wasn't a ton of stuff that we had to follow up on. We had a couple interviews that we tried to line up, and then some schedules changed here. We're going to have some folks here in the studio. We're going to try and make that happen for next week. Is there anything else that you wanted to hit on, Mike?
No, I'm pretty good. I'm ready to go racing. And, you know, nothing better than being at a dirt track on Halloween.
Right.
I don't have to give out candy.
Josh Decker from the Crash Course Podcast right now is sitting in Washington, D.C. because he's got a ride down in Florida. He's going to be in the Orlando area at an event called Halloween Madness, and one of the guys down there, J.C. Mollies, has built him a 1991 Ford Crown Victoria, and he's going to go smash that on the asphalt with 29 of his new best friends down there in Florida. So we wish him the best of luck. He's getting his fix on Halloween.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
But, Mike, I think if we've said all there is to say, we'll go ahead and get on out of here and rally this thing around, and I'll catch up with you next week.
Sounds good, my man.
Well, thanks for calling in. I'll be catching up with you here as we work through the week and see what we can line up for next Thursday. We'll see everybody then. Thanks for joining us here on episode number 177 of the 31st Lap, and we will see you right back here next week.